Okay, maybe this works better. Just give me 1 second. There we go. So, my name is Hannie, and currently I am PhD candidate specialized in marketing, and I'm here to talk about my research as aspiring behavioral scientist. Okay, so this is probably who do you think of when I mention behavioral scientist, right? Yeah, I got some charitable nodding. Well, they actually behavioral scientists. We also call them neuroscientists as well, even though in reality, they don't actually look at model brains with this technology. But this is also who you think of as a scientist as well, right? The people who wearing white lab coats and just meticulously pouring liquid into a measuring cup. Yeah. I'm neither of them. Unfortunately, I wish I was that cool though. But do you know who else is cool? Yeah, these type of scientists. See, we're already here. I know some of you guys might think of these types as well. And perhaps the coolest or cool and more realistic, Albert Einstein. So, you know, scientists can mean a lot of things. Whoopsie. Means a lot of things, and it actually has become my little personal dilemma to introduce myself as a scientist. So I'm in a journey to looking for a, simpler title that doesn't confuse people, but still cool enough so that they think that I'm cool. For example, because I study related to environmental issue, some people within my field can also be called environmental psychologists. But I don't have psychology degree. So I'm not academically fit to be called a psychologist. And I know I don't have the personality fit to be called a psychologist. Do you know why? Just speaking from personal experience. I'm seeing one every fortnightly. Not in the romantic terms. So I think behavioral scientist is not a bad title to work around, right? So with that, I guess scientists can also look like this. Thank you. Well, can you tell the similarity? Not among us with Albert Einstein. I mean, we look pretty similar in terms of our spirit and love for science, right? But subjectively with better hair and better sense of fashion. So don't tell me scientists are boring, because you're gonna upset a lot of people, especially those in marketing. So now you know I'm from marketing. Take us long enough. And yeah, we do take a lot of pride in our sense of style. And in case you can't tell who exactly I am from the photo, this is me. The reason why I'm wearing the same dress tonight. Not gonna lie, I do fit into the stereotype of a typical Asian though. And I actually come up with a list of 5 things for today. Do you want to hear about that? Yeah? Okay, let's start with the first one. I have classic, typical Asian hair, which is, apparently, black and straight. I'm good at math, or people think I'm good at math. And what else? So this is actually me forgetting my script. It's not that I'm trying to say that I'm not fit into a stereotype good at math. So what else? Oh, you know what? I have pretty traumatic upbringing. Like a lot of Asians. That's fine, it's okay. I love my parents still. So my mom and my dad, they were just a little strict, they have high expectations, and they just, kind of want me and my brother to excel in everything a human can do. That's all. So I guess, did I miss something? No? Oh?
If you trust me, I should too. So I say no, then no.
Thank you. But that's also make all of us bad at math. So I guess, oh well, I'm not fit into that stereotype after all. Okay. Do you know what? But we're not here to talk about my math skill. Fortunately, I think most of us here caught up with the part where I mentioned about my upbringing, right? That's more interesting. I see some nodding. Get ready for some drama down. You asked for it yourself. Okay, so do you know that having strict parents with high expectation can make you turn into a perfectionist? Yeah. It gets to the point that I achieve highest level of education voluntarily just for the sake of my parents' validation. I know. So sometimes, thank you. Sometimes behavioral scientists can also look like this. Yeah, sadly. I'm just in my own little world, thinking about consumer theories, my research contribution, thinking about the meaning of life sometimes, and thinking about the meaning of my little PhD. I think a lot of us here can relate to that, right? Up to the point where I contemplate about what PhD could stand for other than just Doctor of Philosophy. And how about parental happiness doctorate? Proud happy dad? Do you know what's my favorite? Parental hopes and dreams. Yeah. But on the other hand, what could be better than actually get a pretty decent paid job after getting the degree, and you got to contribute to the society and become a pretty, helpful person being, right? So for that, I think we all deserve a little applause for anyone who's Great job, guys. Thank you. So I talk a lot about my parents, and my research topic is even related more to my upbringing, and let me tell you why. So as you know, I am a behavioral scientist, and I study the psychology behind sustainable consumer behavior. But what is sustainable behavior? Well, think of yourself as, just normal consumer. Behavior that's sustainable for the environment are just, personal choice that refrain from harming the ecosystem or sometimes even benefit the ecosystem. So some examples that you see every day, including recycling, using keep cup, or just buying second-hand clothes. So if we do a pretty good job, according to a trusted source, I'm not going to say the long name of the organizations, we can actually reduce from 19.9% to 36.8% of carbon emission. by 2015. That is a very significant change. But do you know why? Changing consumer for the environment is often known as a dilemma. Not my little dilemma of finding a title for myself. A dilemma within environmental research. It's because apparently we human inherently selfish. So to reduce the amount of carbon emission to 36.8%, it actually looks like this. Thanos snapping his finger and take half of the world population, I mean pollution, away. Yeah, you can either understand either way. So, does that make Thanos a doctor as well? I think that's my little dilemma to deal with. Anyways, that's mean addressing climate change with individual consumer behavior is very challenging, but doesn't mean that it's impossible. And let me tell you why. With the help of policy, environmental policy that creates structural change within social norms. Okay, so finally we get to the main character of this topic. So environmental policy are generally divided into two types. The one that punish or constrain consumer existing behavior, or the one that reward or facilitate the consumer behavior. And what we normally found within the literature is that the policy that use punishment are more effective to reduce carbon emissions compared to the one that facilitate. Because obviously, if we ban, if we restrict people, behavior stops. But that's create a lot of resistance from the consumer. On the other hand, we have policy that rewards and facilitate the consumer behavior, got a lot of favor and support, but they actually create very little behavior change. So in order to create effective policy, we need to understand not only the one that actually create change, but also the one that is perceived to be more effective by the consumer. So my research, oopsie, this is an example before we get into the research question. Yeah. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? Before in Singapore, you can get caned by dropping litter, which is pretty scary. But in here, Australia, they create this cute looking bean so that it distracts people from their desire to drop litter. And that is the perfect example of what a policy that uses punishment and a policy that uses reward. So yeah, now you know why punishment create resistance and reward create, more positive feeling. And that leads to the research questions of mine, which is, what policy is perceived to be more effective? The one that constrain, also known as the stick, or the one that facilitate, also known as the carrot? Stick and carrots, they're classic analogy, but I don't think it does justice in describing the policy anymore. Imagine if you show up to someone's birthday and you bring a bucket of carrots rather than a mud cake. They would think that is their punishment. Well, the only type of carrot that I think could be a reward is the gold carrots. The 15 gold carrot rings. Which I don't have because I'm a single lady. Gentlemen. Okay. I think I reinforced that enough. So, to answer these questions, I have actually developed multiple policies that systematically differ between whether they facilitate or whether they constrain. And I put them side by side and I ask the consumers which one they perceive to be the most effective at addressing climate change. And let me speak it out, because I don't expect anyone to show up in a comedy show to read this much text. So policy 1, petrol vehicles will be restricted in certain areas. That is punishment. And for the second policy, electric vehicle will be granted permission to utilize bus and transit lanes. That is a facilitating policy. So in a more simpler example, just imagine that one day New South Wales government come up with a ban or restrictions on the amount of bubble tea that a person can drink per day. And on the other hand, they give you extra cash if they drink an extra cup of water a day. And then I set them side by side and I ask you, which policy do you think will be more effective to reduce your sugary drink intake for one day? And by now, if you don't know what bubble tea is, you need help. Or get ready because your life is about to get amazing. So, okay, back to the research. This data has been collected on more than 2,000 consumers on plant-based food, sustainable soft clothing, and electric vehicles. And we actually find that policy that facilitate is perceived to be more effective by the consumer compared to policy that constrain. See mom, see dad, I told you so. I wish they were here so they could listen to me, but anyways, I told them later. So now it makes sense, right? Why constraining policy creates so much resistance. But what can we do about this? How can we, compensate for this trade-off between policy, because constraining policy is actually more effective in creating actual change. So I also tested these questions using the consumer likelihood to choose effective policy as well, and this is what we found. So if we combine constraining policy with facilitating policy, they are increased in terms of their perceived effectiveness. And actually, out of 26 policy combinations, the constraining and facilitating combinations are ranked pretty high. So we think that a most effective policy within this one. So this is actually consistent to compensatory theory, which is one factor is lacking or constrained, another will compensate to maintain balance or achieve a desired outcome. So in simpler terms, let's apply this to modern dating. Does anybody here use dating apps? Yeah? That's okay. There is a section where you can play around with the prompts. So, to show how funny you are. Compensate theory apply to this case when I have to choose between a guy's height or his tendency to make me laugh. On the other, it's similar to dating someone for their personality rather than their appearance. Imagine they look like this. Well, they will write the nicest song about you, they cook, they clean, they give you the carrot, the gold carrot. Yeah. Just as long as they don't send you the selfies, it should be okay. So by now, I think you can see the resemblance between my study and myself. Yeah, look at me. Thanks to my strict parenting, I'm doing comedy show. So, thank you. I just think that as long as I work hard, I can do anything. That's why I'm here. So, I guess I'm the only Asian girl to do this as well. And that's also make me the smartest and the funniest Asian girl studying marketing in this room. My friend asked me, all of them actually, asked me, where do I get the inner strength to come out of my comfort zone? And I don't think it's the inner strength. My psychologist told me it's the perfectionist voice in my head. Yeah, thanks parent again. So when my parent was startled, when I told them that I'm doing a comedy show, I just thanked them. Yeah. And sometimes I'm surprised myself as well. It's like I'm joining this show, this sport, this competing in this area. It's like I teleported and then I transport back to my body again. It's like out of body experience. Typical avoidant attachment style, right? Yeah. No wonder why I'm still single. And looking for a man in finance. Just fun. 6'5". Cool eye. But just joking. Okay. Anyways, or maybe I'm not. Maybe a man in STEM with research fund. Connected by, which means emotional intelligent guy. Brown eyes. Okay, so yeah, we're safe, right? Like, this is a comedy show. But gentlemen, if you like what you're seeing so far, I'll tell you which running club I'm from. And also, since my parents' opinions are very important, as we know by now, just for your information, my parents would really like me to find a man yeah, literally any man. That just tell you how hopeful they are for my dating life, right? Okay. Well, maybe not this man. Well, even though at some point he had that carrot rings. Sorry about that. And of course, employers, if you like what you're seeing so far, here's the QR code to my LinkedIn. I nearly graduate. I also have a first class honor in marketing. I'm a university medalist and I got academic publication. Yeah. Thank you. Anyways, I have a best friend, Jessie. Jessie's parents, unlike mine, they're very gentle with her since she was little. So she turned out to be very secure and balanced lover and friend. But she just struggled a little bit career-wise. Thanks God that kid got the luxury to be struggling in this economy. So when I reflect back to myself, I do really appreciate my parents. They have done their best to raise both me and my brother to become resilient, independent, and most importantly, kind human beings. Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is, for future parents out there, when your child is having a tantrum in Woolies because you don't buy them something, it's not me thinking that everyone loves to get experience and advice from a child scientist. You might choose to do a reverse warrior pose. Yep, they told you that you should take a deep breath, get down to your child level, and talk to them like how you talk to a friend. Yes, Pop, they tell you that you have to call your children friend now. So, yeah. Or you can either ask my parents' advice, but I think the level that they would get down probably would be, butt cheek level, so that they can really get that smash. Based on true story, but no, it's not child abuse. It was long way before where the world was a different place. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening to my research.
Fabulous.